Alright, so we're watching Renya, who's playing Zenyatta. This is Diamond 4 on PC on Hollywood, and it's on the Korean servers, I believe. I started relatively late in Overwatch 2 Season 3, Overwatch being my first serious FPS. It's really impressive that you got Diamond already. I think you should be proud of yourself. Initially, I watch Awkward a lot and managed to get Platinum 2 in my second season playing. I eventually reached Diamond a few seasons later, watching some of your VODs. Great! And I've stayed there for 4 seasons playing mainly Zen, but can also play other flex support. My progress has stagnated significantly after reaching Diamond, especially because I play in Korea server where full dive comps are extremely common. I think I make so many micro mistakes that I really need someone to take a look at my gameplay. I want to reach GM Plus with Zen only. That's why you can be as nitpicky as possible and roast me. I need you to tell me what is expected of a GM Zen in a specific way. The VOD is some recent game where I think I did my best, but I'm certain this game is littered with mistakes. And there's also a list of questions here, not all of which we're going to be able to cover. Number one, playing Zen against the full dive comp with Sombra as a variant. You don't play against dive here or Sombra, so we don't really have a lot to say here. My general advice would be if it's dive that has the ability where they have a flanking route that can get access to you, then play with your team. If it's dive and they don't have a flanking route to you, like for example, it's a long map like Junkertown, Havana, Circuit Royale, then just play more than one dive away, right? Like if you think of Winston dive, like you should know how far Winston can dive, and you want to play about like 1.5 dives, like jumps away, and that way the Winston can never get on top of you, is a really effective way to play against those comps. Again, that's not always possible, right? Sometimes if it's a shorter map, you just literally can't escape them. And then Zen's going to be a problem. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the weakness of the hero is that if they're playing dive and they're going to focus you down, you're going to get melted, which is why even in pro play, you still don't see Zenyatta's very often. Varies based on the meta, etc., because he can get focused down super, super easily. When to flank and off angle is Zen, heavily contextual. We can talk about it a little bit. I think it really depends on what kind of Zen you want to be. My kind of off the cuff advice here is I don't like the hyper aggressive Zen style where you try to carry every game by being crazy flanky and constantly trying to get kills in like the most ridiculous possible ways. It certainly can work, especially if you're better than everybody else, but if you're not better, you just feed. So I prefer more consistent Zen play where you generally stay in your backline, providing like a lot of damage still, right, and getting picks and discord, and just being extremely hard to kill. And I think that that is a reliable way to climb. Again, if you're like, hey, I don't belong in this rank, then you might as well, like you're like way better than players in rank, then you should be hyper aggressive. Once you start approaching, like you're clearly plateaued here right now, right? Like you're like, look, I've been playing at Diamond 4, I've been stuck here in Diamond for like 4 seasons now. This is your peak, which makes sense. Like basically looking at your play, like I feel like this is your plateaued right now. Figuring out how to get better from here is going to involve either better game sense or better aim or both. I find it really hard to coach aim. I generally say that I don't because it's extremely difficult. It's similar to saying, oh, how do I shoot better as a basketball player? I can't watch the clip of you playing a game and tell you how to shoot better as a basketball player, like with any sort of meaning. Like you need somebody to sit down with you like every single day, like working through like your shooting technique to get better at shooting. So that's not like, but like I could say, hey, look, try to cut more, try to set screens. Like that's kind of information that you could pass on that someone could use in the very next game, not simply shooting better. Very similar with aim, right? Telling someone to aim better is not helpful. But there's also no real way for me to coach somebody without sitting down with them for like a lot of time to explain aiming mechanics. To be clear, there's lots of ways that you learn how to aim online. There's plenty of aiming guides. There are people who dedicate themselves to coaching aim. There are aim trainers. There's lots of other things. I just personally don't do it, as in don't coach it. How to maximize damage uptime. I would actually say your damage uptime is great. Again, having already seen this game, I think your damage uptime is great. I think it's actually too high. I think you are putting yourself in bad positions because you're trying to constantly be attacking or applying pressure, and then you die, and then your average damage uptime goes down because you're dead. I think your alive uptime, like a damage uptime while you're alive, is great. Too good, in fact, too high, because you're not really trying to play for your own survival at all, and thus your average damage uptime goes down simply because you're dead. So I would say number one thing is minimizing your deaths. When is it okay to use trance selfishly? Complicated, situational, but the short answer is if I don't die right now, and maybe I can use this trance to save other teammates, is that enough to win this fight? the answer is not going to be yes or no all the time. It's going to be extremely situational, and we're going to go through some of the situations in this game, but there's no overarching rule I can give you other than, is saving yourself enough to make you win this fight? If yes, do it. If not, don't do it. Well, how can you tell that? A million different situational factors, an infinite amount of situational factors that I could not possibly tell you. It's extremely situational to the moment, like whether or not like translating selfishly is the right call or not. Yeah. How to hit more shots like top players do because I hit significantly less. I think this is still mostly an aim thing, but it's also going to be somewhat game sense as well, like finding the right opportunities to hit shots. I wouldn't over-index on the answer to this question. I would simply be like, hey, can I stay alive more? And if you stay alive more, you will hit more shots, period, because you will be alive more to hit more shots. And that will already make a significant difference. I wouldn't worry about, quote unquote, like hitting shots like top players do. I don't even know if I could teach you that, because I don't know. I don't necessarily know that I know what the answer of that to that question is. But yeah, I think you can get a long way before you're like, what is top players, right? Top players, I would say, is like owl level, right? Or like top 10 on ladder. You're so far away from that, right? Like the difference between Diamond 4 and GM is not like the difference between Diamond 4 and like Bronze. It's much larger than that. Like it's so much larger between Diamond 4 and GM than it is between Diamond 4 and Bronze 5. Like it will get so much harder to get every incremental step as you start approaching GM. And in GM, there is a massive spectrum of how good players are. Like I talk about this all the time. I play in low GM, right? Like even middle GM players totally smash me because they're that much better than I am. And those middle GM players have no ability to win games against top 500s, right? It's like not even close. So there are a lot of gaps between you and top players. I wouldn't fret about it for now. Okay, down to the actual video. Let's watch. So the general theme here is that you're going to be generally super aggressive, which in general is fine, and I bet this worked, right? Obviously, you just get a kill right here. In general, I would say that this has probably worked for you, and that makes sense. And you're reaching the point where you're like, okay, like how do I just kind of temper that at the right situations? That's my general advice. Is like, how do I temper that so that I don't get killed when my team really needs me? That's the kind of part. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Like sometimes your team gets like if you lose 2 or 3 teammates, you're not winning this fight anyway. So yeah, go ahead and be aggressive. But there are times where you die first, right? First or second, and those are really costing you. Anyway, we're just going to shoot away from it now for a while. Nothing super exciting. So what's going to happen right now is your soldier's going to get picked to the right. I would note here is, this is actually another habit I've seen you do a lot, is sometimes you'll just be attacking to attack. So, for example, the soldier's going to die right now. And look how there's nobody on your screen. There's like no enemies on your screen, and even if you thought an enemy was going to peek, your crosshair is not at the top of the stair anyway, so there's no way this would hit them, right? 1, 2... There's no reason for this. And you might say, oh, okay, well, it doesn't matter. Well, it sort of matters. A, they can hear you. B, you're not charging a volley, which means that they can peek this corner safely because they know that you're not charging a volley. So, like, little stuff like that is the big difference between you and GM players. Like, GM players are not going to waste any time on any sort of unnecessary action. Like, they're just not going to do it because why? All of their actions have a purpose and will do something that helps them win the game. You attacking stairs does not help you win the game. Alright, so you come over here, right? Tracer dies, great, so Mercy can try to go for the res. Excellent. So you're going to back up here. I would notice that I'm discorded right now, and I've taken damage, and the Sigma's coming after me. This is not a moment where you need to be applying damage, and I think this is like the #1 instinct that we're going to try to train over the course of this game, is sometimes you have to recognize my only job right now is to stay alive, because if I am the enemy Sigma right now, what do? I'm killing you. I'm walking right past the Zarya, and I'm killing you, because the Zarya cannot damage me fast enough to prevent me from killing you in the situation. Like, when that rocker lands, I can just walk through, like, attack, you're dead. Odds are, especially in GM, you will die 90% of the time. There's no survival scenario here whatsoever. It doesn't matter if you are also a GM or top 100 Zen. The Sigma only needs to hit, like, 3 shots here to kill you. There's a very high chance that you die right now. And then once you die, the Sigma can just walk back, right? Play with the BAP a little bit, and then eventually run over the Zarya and win. You should not be doing this. This is a huge mistake for you to have been up there for that long. So now we're at 121 health. The Sigma knows where we are. Okay? So what the Sigma's going to do is the Sigma's going to come up here, and then he's going to attack the backline. That's kind of his goal right now. I don't want to be here anymore. It's not my job. My job is not to hold, like, server room. I was saying, where's the computer? It's like, my job is not to hold server room. Okay, my job is not to try to hold this. My job is to stay alive. That's what I need you as a tank. Your Zarya does not expect you to be playing right here on top of your Zarya. That's not what Zen is. Zen is a long-range support, right? Medium to long-range support. You have no damage fall off on your attacks, so it doesn't matter how far away you are. You don't need to be playing here. You need to be playing here, or here, right? Or here, or here. Those are all valid places to play. Or here. You can't be playing this far up right now in this situation, especially with half health where the Sigma already knows where you are. So you're going to go for this cheeky, like, flank. I would note right now, the Zen can hear you. Like, he can hear the charge right now, at which point, if I'm the Zen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge my volley, and I'm going to take this inside corner. Because by the time I get here, your volley will have expired, you'll have to have launched it, and then I peek you, and then I blow you up. So you need to be careful here. There's like an aspect to your patterns and behaviors that are clearly predicated, like reliant, on the enemy team being bad. And I think that's maybe something else that's kind of holding you back, is you've kind of feasted on enemy heroes, enemy players who just don't play well. And you're at the point where like that kind of is balancing out and people play about, you know, they don't always make the same mistakes over and over again. But you're not used to it, because this is actually an extremely crazy peak right now, to peak right now against the Widow and the Zen. When they heard you charging it up, you should be dead right now. And it's extremely lucky that you are not. So, I would note, this peak causes you to not be out of position, okay? Your Zarya is dead. Now, granted, could you have prevented that? Maybe, maybe not. But I think that you being back here applying constant pressure to Sigma would not be nothing. Right? I think if you were here, preventing the Sigma from walking forwards, breaking the shield, probably not. I think the Baptiste is still going to kill the Zarya either way. But, like, I don't think this is a reliable play for you to be doing this, charging out here. And now you'll notice you're really far out of position. Granted, your tank's dead, so you're obviously winning this fight, not great. But I'm just noting, there's no reason for you to be here right now to begin with. It's not like your tank was dead and then you tried to go for the crazy play. That's fine, or finer. This is, you went for that long before your tank died. And if your tank had not died here, your tank would be on the point and you would still be out of position. Because you see that there are 3 enemies that are on all sides of you, focusing you down. And your Zarya would be like over here, and then you die, because your Zarya doesn't have infinite bubbles, right? She would probably have to back up here, especially against Sigma, who's a really good sustain hero. You're going to die here no matter what. It's very obvious to me, like, watching the play here, that you're not, like, thinking ahead and understanding when you need to pull back here. You're just always in aggression mode. And granted, this could be because of Awkward, right? And I haven't really seen a lot of Awkward stuff. I obviously hear about it all the time on the forums, and people talk about it in videos and stuff like that. I'm not saying that I'm a better player than Awkward by any means, but I also say that if you're looking for advice from me, some of my advice may run contrary to the advice that you might be getting from Awkward in terms of being aggressive all the time. I'm not saying that Awkward necessarily would say to be aggressive here. I think probably not. I'm just noting that, like, being overly aggressive also has a cost. Otherwise, people would be hyper-aggressive all the time. There are times where aggression is the wrong play. This is the wrong play. You should have been playing behind your Zarya on the point, right? Or playing upper cafe versus trying to push server room. I think this is objectively a mistake, and then you're going to die for it. Alright, so we're going to come up here. Nothing super exciting, right? Just kind of poking down here. So, your Zarya's out here, looking for the volley. Right? Harmony, yeah, that's fine, regular. Just kind of poking away, nothing super exciting. So, Sigma's going to pop Flux here. Now, you almost have Trance right now, so definitely something you could think about. You don't necessarily need to do it, but I would definitely be thinking about it right now. I would 100% be applying the Harmony to the Soldier here, by the way, or the Hanzo. Yeah, the Hanzo. Yeah, you do Flux him. Okay, or Harmony. Good. All right. So you try to go for the volley, but I would note is that you're also not looking up. Like, you hear the Sigma Flux, I would look up and be like, okay, like, I get that you're trying to blast here. After this, I look up and be like, where's the Sigma, and is he going to land on me? Because Sigma lands on you and then discords you, and now you're going to die, or really should have died right there. Yeah, there you go, you die. And this goes back to, are you paying attention to what is happening? Like, you play Zenyatta like an extremely forward hero, like constantly on the front line, And there's no reason to be this close to the front. Granted, your Zarya dies here anyway, so does it really matter? It doesn't really matter, but it's symptomatic of the fact that I don't think you realized how much danger you were in. Once Flux went off, if I was you, I'd be like, oh man, there's a good scenario that we're all gonna die right now. And maybe I would consider taking the elevator up, or retreating this way, or retreating towards the Mega this way to give myself options. But you're like, no, I'm not retreating, I'm gonna fight them all. 2, 3, 4, 5, here, I'll fight them all. Obviously, it doesn't work out for you, right? Again, in this scenario, is it going to make a difference? It's not, but I bet there are games, and we're going to see the later fights, where it is going to make a difference. You can't be doing this all the time. All right, we're going to come out again. So they have control of top right. Tough to push them off there, especially if your tank doesn't follow you. I think best case scenario, weirdly enough right now, is actually, I think, to go this way, follow your tank, go to, this is bank over here, go to bank, go up the elevator, and then fight them from this side, because going up this side is suicide. But going, since they've given up bank side and you can get up to there freely, I think that's actually your best play as a weird reversal. I would not try to attack upwards here, right? As a note here, if your Tracer gets busy and the Sigma just drops onto you, what is your survival strategy? There is none. You die. There's no way. There's no way you could possibly beat a Sigma 1v1. It's just not going to happen. If the Sigma just literally just drops on top of you, you die. And you're like, oh, the Tracer will save me. But if the Sigma and the Baptiste drop, you still die. Like, it's the same scenario. Or if the Sigma and Tracer drop on you, you still die. You must always think, if the enemy chose to kill me right now, do I die? If that's the case, don't be where you are right now. That, like, has to be in your head all the time. Like, how vulnerable am I to death at this moment in time? So if we're going to say, hey, look, GM level, you have plenty of time here, actually, to aim this on the way up. You like, start charging a little early, which makes your life a little harder, but as a note, like, you whiff, like, basically the whole one, and he's practically standing still when you go up the stairs. Alright, kill Lamp. Alright, okay, so, let's talk about playing against Widow. So I actually have another video on this as well, talking about generally playing supports against Widows. So, for Widow, cardinal rule for Widow and other snipers is wherever they are looking, don't be there. You don't want to show up here. That's how you get headshot. You want to show up over here, right? Or over here, or over here, or literally anywhere that isn't the last place they saw them or wherever they are looking right now. So if I'm Zen and I just eat a shot here, I don't want to be here. This is the worst possible spot. But you repeat this, or you would repeat this, you'll do this later, right? You're going to repeat it against the Widow, like, basically every single time. We're going to see you do it. I think the only reason you don't repeat, I think you look like you're about to repeat this, and then you change your mind because the Sigma's on top of you. Other than that, I think that you would repeat that, because we're going to see it later. Wow, Discord goes so far, what the heck? Patch change. So, let's think for a second. My Zen is critical. I've lost 2 heroes on my team. My Tracer's way back, getting peeled by their Tracer. What are my options right now? Well, number one, the odds of me winning this fight are not great. Not impossible, but not great. Okay? So if I'm like, look, let's give it this fight, we'll use transfer next fight, that's fine. Just suicide and die. Easy. That's option number one. Option number two here is, look, my Zarya's here, my Zarya is low, my Zarya potentially has good amounts of energy. Yeah, she's at half. I want to preserve the Zarya's energy and maybe turn this fight, and I want to take a risk. I'm generally not a risk taker, right? I generally play much more methodical, like, best percentages play, right? Like, if you imagine me as a poker player, like, I'm generally, what's the term? Like a tight poker player, right? So I generally don't take big risks, and instead try to go for mathematically strong play overall, right? I'd rather, hit 55% on a regular basis than go for like an 80% sometimes and 20% sometimes, win big sometimes, lose big sometimes. I'd rather just be like, play slow, methodically, accrue advantages over the course of a game. Because I find that if I try to go for big plays, like, sometimes they work, but sometimes they're way too swingy, and then they don't plan out, and you don't end up winning games, right? I'd rather just be a consistently good player, because I think that is the best way to build around. That's not saying that I don't take risks. Sometimes I talk about how, hey, I have no win condition here unless I do X crazy thing, and I do X crazy thing. That's still playing very safe, because that is the only scenario to me. Now, if you were a risk taker, this is the moment where you trance, because your Zarya is at half energy. She does have grab here, right, which could potentially be used to turn it. Right between you and Zarya, you do a lot of damage. You could potentially kill the BAP straight out of trance, or your Zarya might kill the BAP in trance, you have some options here, and shield's already deployed. So those are your only two options. Option number one, I give up on this fight, let the Zarya die, I die right away, we regroup, we fight again. Option number two, I trance right away, because my Zarya's already at half health, I know there's a Widow in play. I trance right away to make sure I save my Zarya. You do option three. Your Zarya dies, and then you trance. This is the worst possible thing that you could have done, right? Because not only do you not save trance for next fight, and what was already a low percentage chance you're going to win this fight, but you don't even save your Zarya and give your Zarya any chance at turning this fight around. So this was the worst of all possible options that you could have selected, right? You either could have saved trance, gone next, or you could have used trance and taken a risk that you could have flipped this. Neither one of these happened. You use trance and let your Zarya die, which means you had no chance of winning. This is a big problem. The other thing I would note is, right now, what are you doing to help win the game? Because you attacking a shield a mile away from this Tracer is not helping you win the game. This is doing nothing. And you just think sometimes when you're attacking a shield, I'm like, does this, me attacking the shield matter right now? Is anyone else going to, like, I could understand if you're attacking the shield right now, and there's a Bastion here trying to kill the Sigma. Yeah, great, yeah, okay, fine, yeah, go ahead, destroy the shield right now. Or Widow is about to kill the Baptiste. Those moments matter to break the shield. You are not doing anything right now that's effective, and you need to know that. Like, forget GM, I think even a high diamond player would realize this is not helping your team at all. Like, you can't be doing this. It's not going to do anything right now. Alright. So, you hear the Tracer on the right. You hear the footsteps. I will note that taking a close-range fight against the Tracer is not actually a good fight for the Zen. The Tracer can hear you charging, or if you don't have the volley charge, she can't hear you because you have no footsteps. But if you're charging the volley, the Tracer can hear you, and she can time it so she'll blink past you, and you will miss the volley. I would never expect a Zen to win a point-blank fight against Tracer evenly skilled. I think that Tracer is at least 60% favored there. And you might think, okay, 40%, that sounds good. I'll take that 40%. Why would you take a 40% fight? If you averaged 40% fights over the course of a game, that means you're giving yourself only a 40% chance to win the game. You know, like the percentage that you're taking in a fight is representative. The average of that is roughly going to be what your chance of winning the game is. If you're consistently taking 90% winning fights, you probably have a 90% chance of winning the game. If you're taking 50% chance fights, you'll probably have a 50% chance of winning the game. If you're taking 10% winning fights, you'll probably have a 10% chance of winning the game. That's just the way it works. So right now, is this the fight that I want to be taking right now? I don't think so. Right? Against an equally skilled opponent, I do not think that this is a good call. That is number one. Number two, there's clearly a Widow Mine here. Right? Like, you see and hear it? Like, over here, like, it's blinking on your screen. Like, it's quite visible. Like, Junkrat Trap, I understand, but, like, you saw the Widow Trap a while. It's not hidden at all. Like, you can see it right now, blinking. You can't be walking into that. So not only you're taking this point-blank fight with the Tracer, but you're also walking into Widow Mine, which is going to take damage. Now, you're going to kill this Tracer. Despite everything I said, you're still going to kill this Tracer because the Tracer is bad. The Tracer hears it coming, right? Like, the Tracer has so much time here to blink. She has so many blinks right now. She has 2, almost 3 blinks right now, and she chooses to not use any of the blinks, despite the fact that she can hear you charging, and she can see you charging, and she's well past the corner right now. She decides, hey, I don't think this is dangerous to me at all, and she gets blown up. This will not happen at GM. You will never even get a chance to hit the Tracer, much less kill her. There is no way. That's just not the way that's going to work. I'm telling you, this is a super bad fight to be taking. It is a very, very low percentage fight. You do not want to be taking this fight. Alright, so the Widow pops you with the body shot. And let's think about this for a second. A, I'm extremely low, so the Widow can kill me with the body shot. 2, or B, the Widow just saw me here, so she's very likely to be aiming at this spot, which means I'm likely to walk into her crosshair. C, remember when you hit her Widow Mine? She can see you! You see how you're highlighted right now? She can see you! What are you doing? Like, This is like representative for all the times before when I'm like, oh, you're being hyper aggressive, you're being hyper aggressive, you really can't be doing this. Like it's a bad fight. It may not have clicked until hopefully now when it's clicking. This was a horrendous fight. This is like a bronze level decision to re-peak this right now. You are already critically injured. You will die to a body shot. She already saw you here and is very likely to be scoped here again unless you hear her running around. And she can see you coming, so she knows the exact timing to hit this. You never had a chance. You never had a chance. You literally just committed suicide. Right? Like that, this is as close to actual jumping off a cliff suicide as you could possibly have done. There was no reason to do this. It is a throw. This is just a straight throw. I cannot explain this any other way. Alright. I've been rezzed. After my res, my plan is to immediately take the fight against the Widow again in the exact same doorway? Now, granted, there's a little bit of luck here as to whether or not the Widow's going to hit the shot. I will say that at GM, I think the Widow hits this shot. Like, she sees you res here. She has plenty of time right now to hit this headshot on you. This was a crazy play. Right? Like, this is just not good, like, fight decision making. You do shred the Zen, right? I do think mechanically you're actually still better than the average in this game. But I'm just noting you should not have taken the fight against this Widow. And you can win without taking this fight. To be clear, you don't need, I'm not saying don't be completely passive. I think take the right fights. Think through fights from the other side's perspective. If the other side's like, yes, I'm very happy to take this fight against you, you probably aren't taking a good fight. Right? There's like a very one-sided nature to the decisions that you make where you only think through it from your perspective and never from their perspective. How do they feel about the fight we're about to take right now? I think this is basically fine. I don't think anything you could have done would have made like a huge difference here. I think you're generally trying to be competitive on the point, and I think this is fine, right? I think micro, like, nitpicking is not going to make a difference here. I don't know why your Zarya's grabbing. All right, we're going to play up top. So, the Tracer's going to flank you from the right, but you don't hear her, which is fine. I understand. Like, she's still crouched. I would not expect you to hear this until right now, where you're going to hear this, and you turn. Okay. I would discord her right away, because why not? So let's look at how many shots this is, okay? So this should be discord right away, and you start attacking. But you don't apply discord. That's problem number one. Okay, let's count the attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you die. At GM, I think you hit 3. Right? I think 3 out of 6, 2 out of 6, pretty reasonable. With discord, that is seriously threatens her life, and maybe causes her to rewind, which maybe keeps you alive. This is not enough shots. Granted, some of these are somewhat close, some of these are less close. I'm just noting that if we're going to compare you to GM, like a GM Zen's definitely putting some damage on Tracer, no question. But this is a good example where, like, if the Tracer does have good movement relative to you, which I would expect, you're going to have so much more trouble landing any shots on them, which is why I noted that close range fight from before was such a bad one to take. Alright, you're going to sneak up here. Tracer also doesn't know you're here. I would note is that you release a little bit early, right? Make sure to release at head level, so you're kind of going up, like you're going up like this, which means that some of your shots actually hit low, and as a result, you don't actually get the kill, right? You're eventually at headshot level, but if you just aimed a little higher or landed one more body shot, she would have died there. So I would assume, based on the fact that she was waiting here already, when she rewinds, I'm immediately charging a volley because I know she's going to end up somewhere here. Because I saw that she was crouched here, right? So I saw, this is my terrible stick figure, I saw that she'd been up here for at least several seconds, so her recall point is almost assuredly in front of me. So I'm charging the volley to blast her right away when she comes out of it. Yeah. I would apply discord right there. Okay, she's going to just pulse bomb and kill herself, so great. That happened. Alright, so, let's think for a second. Am I too far forwards right now? I mean, look at where your Cassidy is, right? Your Cassidy's over here, right? How did I turn on opacity here? Your Cassidy's over here, your Baptiste's over here. Why are you over here? Why are you so far forwards? Like, nothing is going to happen right now. The Sigma's already has flux or grasp going right now. I'm now peeking this corner without even a volley with 5 shots. This feels bonkers to me. This feels like a situation where you die. Right? And this is where we start seeing, again, your general hyper-aggressive, overly aggressive play is starting to finally cost you real fights. Because there's no reason for you to be dying here. Like, you're so far forwards right now, and even then you could have backed up and gone back. But despite the fact that there's 3-4 people here who could all focus you, you're still out here really, really far forward, and then you're going to die. You're dying in front of your tank, right, which is called frontlining. As a general rule, the area between the two tanks, assuming not dive, right, this is no man's land, right? You should not be in this space. You need to be here, or here, or here, right? You can't be here. It's not allowed. That's just not the way your hero works. You have no mobility skills, and you are a massive target, and everybody wants to kill you because you do so much damage. You're always going to be priority number 1 as you start climbing. Always, always, always. Zen is always priority number 1, right? Every single game, the enemy team's goal is to kill Zenyatta first, which means simply not dying is going to carry a lot of games. Your goal should always be, don't die. And putting yourself in such a crazy position is bad. You don't need to be here to do damage, right? Like, here is still okay. Like, yeah, you don't have access to the backline, but this is not an area of the map where you're going to have access to the backline. No one is expecting you to flank over here and get a kill, or flank over here and get a kill. Just chill, right? Just play alive. You have strong defensive advantage here. You get everybody up. You don't need to make any plays. This is a bad death. All right, so we're coming out here. Widow's there. We take a shot. Let's think about this. The last time the Widow saw me was on the right. So there's a good chance she's looking on the right. Now, it's possible, mind gaming, that she might also be looking on the left. But either way, I want to be very careful about which way I peek right now because I might get killed. I might want to do what's called like a jiggle or shoulder peek, where I only show part of my body but not my head to potentially bait the shot, the next shot, and then I can hit her with the volley, right? But you swing what is called wide right now, like away from the edge, you should be dead. You 100% should be dead right now. Okay? First of all, you should have been dead right there. But to be fair, you're coming out of spawn, so that's fine. So, right now, you see how you're going to swing wide of the corner? This is wide. This is very, very wide of the corner. This is 100% a death at GM. There is no way I would ever expect to live in this situation. Right? And you're going to die anyway. So, this is all in all not so good. Now, what could we have done differently? I would also note that going out the same side as your team would have been potentially helpful here. But it's tough because, you know, you're in a bad situation. The card's pushing up. Your tank's not out yet. I think waiting for your take to come out would also have been very helpful. But I would note the biggest problem here is that you died in the previous fight because now you're in a really bad situation, getting camped in your spawn and trying to leave. This never happens if you never died in the previous fight, and the previous fight ends up being a win. Alright, so they're going to cap. Alright, we're going to come out here. So I think this is a good time to flank. I think this is a perfectly good time to flank. Like, yeah, the Widow might be looking, but this is okay, because the Widow had no reason to believe that you were going to be there. See? Like, she has no reason to expect that you're going to be there. She checks quickly, but she doesn't know, because she has no information. She doesn't have sound. She doesn't have visual cue. She didn't see you rotating over there. So I think this is an okay peek right now. I'm fine with this peek. Right? Pop Discord. Now, you're going to eat the Widow mine right now, which means she can see you. Granted, you're going to see your monkey go in. So if you knew your monkey was going in, then it's okay. I will say that high-level Widows will actually sit here and let the Winston jump you and kill you anyway. The reason being is Winston, it's mathematically impossible for Winston to kill a Widow that fast. So the Widow also knows that you know that she's being dove by the Widow. So there's a very good chance that you stop trying to dodge or jiggle peek and you just commit to this peek right now, and the Widow blows you up and gets the kill and then grapples away. That is what you're going to face in GM, is Widows who are eking out every little advantage of that. That's not happening at this level, so at this level, it is okay that you re-peek this. But I'm just noting that don't be surprised later when that's a problem. Alright, so I end up killing the Widow here, right? So you apply Discord on the Mercy, I think accidentally. But let's think for a second. I'm at 200 health right now. I go for the Sigma. I'm at 150 health right now. So Sigma does 110 damage on his splashes. So 110 on a direct, and then he splashes in to kill me. I don't need to peek this anymore. It's not my job. I can just leave. I just need to leave right now. I do not want to die here. because we're in good shape. Right? We just killed the Widow. It's a 5-on-4 situation. As long as I don't die, the value I can provide over the course of this fight is massive. It's not like the Sigma can spend the next 10 seconds just staring at this doorway, right? Like the Sigma's about to get run over by the Tracer, by the Genji, by the Ana. All I need to do is live. All I have to do is live. All I have to do is... Why am I still out here? And this, once again, is an example of you just kind of throwing fights away by dying unnecessarily. You don't need to be here. Your team doesn't need you to be here. You just need to go home. Just literally hide. Wait, regen, come back, repeak. Right? When the Sigma's busy. If you just waited a few more seconds, you're good. Fortunately, your team's going to win the fight anyway. Right? Okay, great. Tracer dies here. So... Zen's not a great hero here for a variety of reasons, right? Obviously, super hard to get a really good angle. They can drop into you at any time. But you're trying to do your best. Genji's dead. As soon as Genji's dead, I'm like, okay, you know, probably not such a good chance of us killing us. But, like, if I get an opportunity, go for him, right? This is, what is it? The Brig? Yeah, the Brig is dropped. Yeah, see what you can do here, right? Discord. Genji on top of you, that's fine. Alright. Winston dies. Winston's dead, so, like, our whole attacking force is dead. That's fine. Just back up. I don't need to move the cart. Cart's not going anywhere. Just go back. Just literally just go back. I just don't want to get picked here. Right? Just go back. Just go back. See, this is not going back. Going back is this way. This is safety. This is not safety. This is taking an off angle. But taking an off angle when you're in a 2-on-5 situation is bad because they will hunt you down and kill you because they know it's a 5-on-2 situation. They know you have no backup here. They know they don't get punished for pushing you down. See, the Sigma's pushing you right now. And you're like, oh, shoot, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. And now you're dead. And when you're dead, you stagger yourself and you're desynced from the rest of your team, who are all alive right now, ready to come out and fight, but you are dying right now. Look at it from their perspective, okay? Winston died. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Winston comes out. He's walking forwards. If I saw you die right now as Winston, I would think you are just not playing the game well. This is objectively a mistake. How can you be dying this long after I died? Like, if you died with me, sure, fine, what it is, what it is. But dying like 10 seconds after I died, where I just spawned and walked out for almost 15 seconds, is unacceptable. You cannot be doing this if you want to get the higher ranks. Because you are staggering yourself against your team. Right? And now your team's like, well, now we don't have a Zen. So now you're forcing your team to fight into a 4-on-5 situation because you made an easily avoidable mistake. Right? And now your Ana dies. So now the stagger continues because now you're going to spawn and you notice that now there are 4 people dead. The stagger continues. This is like Overwatch 101, right? You cannot be dying at bad times. There are plenty of times where it's perfectly fine to die. Dying 15 seconds after your last teammate died is a really bad time to die. Right? So we're coming out here and you notice that the Sigma feels, he's like, wait, I can maybe stagger the Zen. Right? I totally understand this right now. The Sigma wants to get killed. If he hits you that rock, there's a very strong chance you die. So, everything that you did here was a mistake. You didn't even want to be pushing. I wouldn't even left spawn, because the odds of you getting a pick is very, very low, and the odds of you dying is quite high. Alright, so we're going to push through. Alright, yeah, Discord the Sigma. I would note again, like, watch your attacks, okay? So we're going for the Sigma right now. Okay, these are off target. Okay, fine, whatever. These are clearly off target. This attack is not near anybody, right? Like, that one attack is not even near any of the enemies. These two, okay, you missed, fine, whatever, it is what it is. But I'm just noting, sometimes you're attacking and there's literally nobody even, like, on your screen or near your crosshair. Alright, your team's gonna take upper, great. Charging volley, it's fine, nothing super exciting. Alright, so. They're coming out this way. When I see this Genji, what do I think? I think this Genji is gonna come kill me. Because Genji is strongly favored against Zen if he can get up close. I don't want him to get into a situation where he can get up close. So I don't want to be playing this close edge anymore. I want to be playing this far side. Or I want to back up the bridge. Right? I just want to make sure he can't get close to me because then he's going to kill me. Right? Discord? Okay, fine. Yep, backing up. Alright, good. I don't know that I would have dropped there. I don't think there's actually a need to drop. But it's fine if you wanted to be doing that. You're going to kill the soldier. Excellent. Right? Harmony, pop, looking for it. So, one thing to note is, where is the opposing team? Well, the last you saw, they're coming this way, and they're going up top, and you would hear them up top right now. I don't know why you're looking down this way. I would be looking up. Like, for some reason, everybody else in your team seems to know that they're up there except for you and the Ana. This is very confusing to me how you don't hear or recognize the fact that there's 3 members of the enemy team above you. I would be worried that they would drop down on top of me. So this is a reaction to the blade. So the Genji is going to be directly above you. You're going to pop blade. I think this is okay. It is not great. And the reason being is this is a naked blade. So a naked blade is one that does not have any other ultimates chained with it, right? No damage boosting. So he needs to slash, dash, slash again in order to get the kill on a standard 250 health hero. Which means that's actually a lot of time. It's actually 0.7 seconds, or it's reduced from 0.9 to 0.7, right? So there is a chance that you could actually straight up kill him before he kills anybody. But you could at least wait for one slash dash before popping trance. At the end of the day, I think I roll the dice here a little bit, because the Ana and I are both full health, and I don't see any other targets that he can kill instantly. So I would roll the dice that maybe we can kill him here without popping trance. At least I want to see him do some damage and commit, because if he dashes in, slashes, and then you pop trance, how does he get out? He can't. He has no dash anymore, because he didn't get a reset, in which case you can kill him. But if you pop it early like this, right away, and I get that this is usually the correct call to pop trance, but the difference between Diamond and GM is not usually doing the right thing, it's almost always doing the right thing, right? You get to Diamond by learning generally good practices, but you get to GM by understanding when is it not the right choice to do what is the usually good thing. It's actually the right choice to do this unusual thing that is the best choice for this situation. Because you're going to see the Genji, he's going to blade and be like, okay, cool. So instead of going towards you, he's going to slash or dash over, and now he goes after the rest of your team that you can't help because you're not there. Does it make a big difference in the grand scheme? It doesn't in this fight, but that's the whole point of me, is trying to teach you better habits. One of the bad habits I want to teach you is don't just always do automatic responses to things if there can be a better outcome by playing it differently. And I think a better outcome here would have been to not trance right away, to attempt to find the Genji, discord, apply damage, wait for him to commit on you or the Ana, and then trance if he's not going to die before getting the next slash off. Alright, right call here to targeting the Brig, right? She's obviously on both, being attacked on both sides. The problem is you've lost your Ana here, so yeah, do the best you can. Genji on top of you. Reload. I think this is fine. There's not a lot you could have done differently. Alright. So, you've lost 2. Winston's in. You're kind of doing your best trying to do damage. Kill the Genji here, right? Good headshots, really good headshots here. So, did the best you could, right? You got to pick out of it, but, with down 2 DPS, it's going to be hard for you to do a lot. So, fun fact, or fun thing to think about. So, Sigma was here. Sigma pushed you off high ground. The thing is, I would be thinking, the Sigma doesn't actually want to go to bank. In this situation, I just know because of the setup and the fact that they're down 1, the Sigma doesn't really want to go here. So, I actually would be thinking, weirdly enough, to actually go back up high ground. And I'd want to confirm here, using sound, because I can hear where the Sigma's attacking, what the Sigma ends up doing. So I would hear here, be like, oh, the Sigma's still staying on high ground over here. Well, if I go this way, I can't do anything. I don't have any angles to help my Winston. I would strongly consider going this way, and then waiting for the right moment to going up here to blast the Sigma and then kick him off high ground would be an incredibly strong play. Because we're going to watch here, what can you do here instead, right? You have to walk all the way over here, and by the time you get here, the fight is over. But imagine, instead of spending 15, 20 seconds doing that, right? I would just play back here, right? Okay, cool. They're pushing me. I drop. Now I wait here. Wait, right? I'm like, okay, cool. From here, I can kind of attack up there. And I'm like, okay, Sigma's going this way. Reload. Come this way. Walk over. Charge volley. Go up. Blast Sigma. Kick him off. I'm just noting, I think that would have been a better play than what you actually ended up doing. Alright. Walking forwards. So, 5-on-5 situation, looking for... one thing to note is I want to get discords nice and early on whoever the Winston is diving. It's extremely helpful. So, discording right now and immediately breaking LOS is bad, because now, what did the discord really do? Nothing, right? You see it expired before anybody went. I don't need to be taking the off angle here through Saloon, because I understand, I can see my Winston's positioning on my left, so I know, hey, my Winston will be diving in soon. I throw discord on literally anybody and stay in LOS, and the Winston's going to melt them. I don't need to be going in Saloon right now to off angle. Just playing main right now is good. It's honestly better than what you ended up doing. right? Just understanding sometimes where it's like, look, we got this. If I just discord somebody because their tank is dead, is enough to realize, look, this is already a winning scenario. I think this is a cheeky peek. I think this is okay, and this is a good example of like risk versus reward. So I actually probably would have stayed card. I think it actually potentially is a better play to go to the left here, but I personally would have played card. Now, you get a pick out of it, but it's actually, this is a pretty good pick opportunity. Like, they're obviously not looking at you. They're all lined up. So getting a pick here could actually be a really big deal to contesting the cart. But being on the cart moves it faster and allows you to apply more damage pressure to this doorway. What's the right call? I'm not sure. I'm just noting that I personally would have played the cart. I don't know for sure that I'm right, like that my choice was better or your choice is better. It actually also really depends on whether or not you can get a kill consistently from that angle or not. So, all right. Somehow your Winston dies here. So I noticed one thing here is that you're not paying attention to audio cues at all. Like, you can hear the attacking right now. You should be discording and killing the Sigma. Instead, you're just totally ignoring the Sigma and doing nothing over here. Right? It's not like you're killing another squishy. You're doing literally nothing. And now you've left your honor to fight the Sigma alone. Like, what? Let's just pay attention here for a second. So, again, Sigma alone versus Winston and Ana. You're here. You're here. You can hear this. You can hear 100% of this going on right now. You just don't care. You literally don't care. Now your Ana's trying to fight the Sigma alone. Sigma's already used Flux. This is an easy kill right now for you. And then you're going to kill the Ana. And this is just going to delay your push right now. And you still have no idea. And you're still not paying attention to the kill feed. And did not realize the Sigma's killed 2 of your teammates right now behind you. So, yeah. All in all, not so good. Alright, so your Genshi's going to die here. I don't think there's a lot you could do differently about that. So these are very low percentage charges. You want to volley from here, right? The odds of you getting a kill here is very, very low because of how little time they're exposed to your volley. You want to charge volley a little earlier, so the moment you're getting around this corner, you can go here, hop up, and then blast somebody, and then drop back down. This is where your aim really lets you down. So again, I don't coach aim, but I'm just noting this is an extremely common problem. So the farther away the target is, you're over-exaggerating your aim, okay? So watch. He's going to go to the right. So your goal here, from an aim perspective, is you want to be doing like this amount of missing, right? Somewhere left, right, like that. So bad aim looks something like this. So you see that you're like where you possibly are aiming is much larger than the size of his body. This is bad aim because many of the shots that are happening on the edges have no chance of landing. Okay? And then terrible aim looks like this, where you have like basically no control of your mouse and you're just all over the place. So let's watch your aim right now and see where you are. Okay? Discord? Okay. You'll notice this shot is quite far off the mark. This shot's okay, right? On target, like conceivably could hit. You see this shot is 1, 2, 3, about 3.5 body lengths away from where he is right now. This is a gross exaggeration on how far away he is. Now, the most common reason for this that I observe is that your mouse sensitivity is too high. Because basically when he goes right, you go right as well to compensate, but because your sensitivity is too high, you can't make small adjustments, so you go too far. Is that your problem? I don't know. Right? I'd have to sit down and really like take a look. I don't coach the aim. I'm just noting. Usually, it's a mouse sensitivity problem, right? Because if you think about it, if your mouse can only move this much, right, and that is the same length, same size as a body, then I can't possibly do this much like over aim, right? Because I physically can't move the mouse that fast unless I'm intentionally snapping it. As a note. Okay, so you're gonna pop this trance right here. So the biggest problem here is that you're going to lose one right as you pop the trance. So you're popping it in reaction to Blade, but honestly, the Tracer is dead before you've popped trance. We can see that the Tracer is dead. The timing is quite tight, but it is, at GM, you would have noticed that. A GM Zenyatta would have noticed that the Tracer died before popping trance and probably avoided doing it. A. B, everyone here is critical health. I'm not even confident that I could save them with trance, right? You happen to get away with it this time, I probably would not have tranced this. But Your team does pop Trance and Nano and Blade, right? Manages to convert it. You do your best here to fight off the Moira. I think this is all fine. Reaper on top of you, I would have kicked him away right away. Decent movement or bad aim from the Reaper, one of the both. So you're trying to apply pressure to the back line. I think this is a good example where I think your aim's just not up to snuff. Think about how many shots you get here on their back line. So this is going to be what, like a 3-shot volley, right? A 2-shot volley. So those all miss, right? These are reasonably on target, but that's a hit, right? That one's way off target. That one's way off target. That's horrendously off target. That's horrendous. The Baptiste is already out of your field of vision before you do that attack, right? And then that last attack is at nothing. So of the 10 shots, I think only 30 to 40% of them were on target, or conceivably could hit, and only I think one of them actually hit, 1 or 2 actually hit. That accuracy is way too low for GM. If I hear the Reaper going, clop, 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 right, with the stomp, 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 the super heavy footsteps, I don't worry about what the heck is going on over here. I deal with the Reaper first, because I think you even saw him. No, he didn't use Wraith Form yet, but I need to force the Wraith Form right away and then kill him after Wraith Form. This is all very, very risky play, right? If I am in this situation, I reload, I heard the Reaper on my right already, I'm thinking I want to peek the Reaper with a full volley right now and try to get him. That's the goal at this moment in time, A. B, for the love of God, please help kill the tank! Right? Look, the tank is, there's 3 people! This is an easy triangle kill, right? Discord, kill the Sigma. You're just never looking at the tank. I feel like you heard advice somewhere which is oh, always attack squishies, and you literally always attack the squishies and never try to kill a tank, even the tank is grossly overextended. I feel like the tank had 100 health in your backline, you would ignore the tank and try to kill somebody in the backline. It doesn't... It's actually kind of crazy how obsessed you are with trying to go for backline exclusively, which I feel I don't know if it's related to awkward or not, it feels like you short-circuited your way to your rank, right? Instead of learning all the common mistakes along the way, you kind of got here just from above average aim for your rank and listening to awkward and applying a lot of damage to the backline, which is generally effective. That's why it works. But there's some lessons you've skipped along the way that seem like frontlining, for example, that feel like you need to kind of slow down and pick those back up. Because you're making in some ways you're okay, this totally looks like diamond level play, and in some ways I'm this looks like a bronze or silver level play, because it feels like you have no idea what the heck is going on in certain situations. Alright, so not a time to be backing up. This is the time to walk forwards. There is 1 minute left. Everybody's got full health right now. Okay, their team is backing up. I should be walking forwards at this moment, not backwards. And you see that you don't have the read, right? Everybody in your team is walking forwards except for you. This is not the time. You need to be walking forwards right now because you need to be able to turn this corner and start applying pressure. So Genji dies. It's is it your job to save the Genji? It's not, but it is your job to do something with the Genji's pressure. Because look what happens to the Genji, right? Genji goes in hard. He's trying to force this fight, right? And then he's going to end up dying here. But you could have used that time to potentially get a pick and apply damage, but you're not applying any damage. Look from the beginning of this fight, okay? Let's just count how many hits you get after this fight begins at this point. At this point in time, okay, you got 1 hit there. All right, we got 2 hits there. I'm not counting the shield. And by the time your Genji has died, you have landed 2 hits. That's not the value you can provide as Zen. Right? You need to time that aggression, that pressure, with the rest of your team. That's the key to winning fights. Timing that pressure is important, not going to pressure on your own time scale. Right? It's not your job to open fights. It's your job to follow up on opportunities. Ryan's gonna die here for sure. Not a lot you can do. Yeah, now we're on reset. Great, that's fine. We have 40 seconds left. Right? We have 1 last push. So he's popped late. I actually think this trance is totally fine, because this is probably last fight territory, and I think popping trance, you didn't know that you were going to kill him. I think this trance is totally fine. So, you need to be going forwards right now. You have 20 seconds left. Your Rhine is already up there. You need to be up there right now. And this is a good example where I'm look, this is the time. Everyone's healed up. Fine. The Sigma's back there? Who cares? Just push up. Leave the Sigma there. push up right now, finish the trance over here, help your Ryan kill the Genji, then keep moving forwards. Alright. Remember what I said about Genji versus Zen? You are not favored in this fight. You are not likely to win this fight. If I took you and faced you off against 100 Diamond 4 Genjis at this distance, in this situation, where he has presumably all of his cooldowns, how many of those fights do you win? 30% maybe? This is not, I don't want to gamble my entire game away because this is the last fight. I don't want to gamble my fight on my ability to win a point blank fight against Genji with all of his cooldowns. I am not favored at all here. And you die. And that's it. And that's the end of the game. And you did not need to take this fight. You see the Genji on the left. You could have just been like, nope, I just back up here, or go to the right, or anything that is not, hey, let me walk into the Genji and intentionally take the fight on his terms, right? This is like in a war where I have guns and the enemy has swords, and instead of just shooting them from range, I decide to get up into melee range and try to hit them with my gun, like the butt of my gun, instead of just shooting them. And they don't have any ranged attacks. Why are you doing this? There is no need to do this. Just don't. Just use your range advantage, right? If I'm the Ryan, I don't need you to walk into this Genji and try to take this fight. Look, the Ryan's probably like, what the heck is happening here? See? The Ryan's like, has literally no clue what the heck you're doing right now. Taking this fight right now. And this is what I mean, where like it feels like you skipped some of the steps of learning Overwatch to get where you are right now. Because this is not what other Diamond Zens look like by and large. It doesn't feel like you know which are the right fights to take. Okay, so we'll hold there. So I'm going to review the questions, see whether anything we didn't cover. Playing Zen against a full dive comp, we talked about that. Nothing really relevant in this game. When to flank and off angle is Zen. Kind of dealer's choice as to when is the right time that's right for you. I typically do it less than others. I don't think that's necessarily correct. It's just kind of stylistically your choice. I think it is important that if you are going to flank an off angle, to not die. If you are dying, you are almost assuredly doing it wrong. So if you're not dying, you're flanking and being successful, keep doing it. If you're flanking and dying, stop doing it, or pick a different time, or whatever it ends up being. Change your behavior. How to get more consistent volleys. Sort of talked about that. I think the key is timing it up right? Making sure when you cross the corner, giving yourself like half a second to blast them, and putting them in situations where they can't dodge the volley, right? If they're about to immediately head to cover, you're not going to get a consistent volley. How to avoid getting spawn camped. Obviously not relevant in this game. How to maximize damage uptime. We talked about that a lot. Your damage uptime is generally great when you're alive. The problem is you die a lot, which lowers your average uptime. When it's okay to use trance selfishly, we actually talked about an example at the end of the game where I think it was okay for you to trance for the BAP. I think that was actually totally fine. How to hit more shots, we talked about that. It's not really any short advice I can give you. Okay, so in summary here, I would say, again, you got to stop dying, right? Core problem here is you got to stop dying. You're dying a lot, and you're taking bad fights at bad times, right? Whether or not it be frontlining or trying to fight Genjis at point blank or whatever it ends up being, trying to fight when you're really low, re-peeking a Widow, whatever it ends up being, that's the common theme. That is like the single biggest thing that you can change to improve. There's a lot of other micro stuff we covered, but that is like the single biggest thing is cut your deaths way down. You can still be aggressive without dying. So try to understand every time you died, why did I die? Did I make a mistake? If so, what was that mistake? How do I not repeat that mistake? Okay, I'm going to hold there. Hopefully this is helpful.